Hi, this video is all about the new updates to documents and workflow with the AMS 9.1 release. My name is Kate Arrington, and I'm a technical trainer on the AMS software product development team. As I go through the updates, I will be in the AMS training environment in a training organization. So anything that I create and model will not be in production or tied to legitimate PIDs or other commands and organizations. Let's begin with an overview. The 9.1 release updates to documents and workflow make tracking, managing, and routing procurement documents significantly more efficient. It does this by bringing all pieces together on the PID homepage. These updates will give PID teams key visibility into document needs and statuses, and effective new workflows will automate tasking to ensure that documents are finalized on schedule. This is an all-new capability and does not create any changes to the existing process. But eventually, these capabilities will replace the PID collaboration site, legacy documents page, and PMT route sheets. You can continue to use the legacy pages until they are sunset later this year. I will now cover in depth the new PID Home Documents tab, Workflow tab, and the new user-specific workload management page. I want to show you around the Documents tab for a bit. This tab contains an extensive list of potential documentation requirements organized by contract section, as outlined in FAR 15.204-1. This organization was based on feedback from PMT stakeholders. Organization-level admins, or PID My Team members, can upload, review, and approve documents via configurable workflows. I want to draw your attention to the Save button on the far right side of the tab. Documents is the only page that requires users to hit save. There is no autosave on the Documents tab. PID package and required selections must be manually saved. The Save button will be active with an asterisk when there are unsaved changes. If I were to select Create Workflow without hitting Save, I would get an Unsaved Changes modal, letting me know that I need to go back and save my selections first. Once I press Save, the asterisk goes away and the page has been saved. On the left is the Download Documents button. This will open a modal where you can choose to download all documents, the complete PID package, or individually select documents. Documents will download as a zip file with folders for each document section. When you select all, you will see that some of the checkboxes are blue and some are grayed out. The ones that are blue have documents attached to that section. The ones that are grayed out do not have any documents attached to that section. This link will take you to the SharePoint site where you can find standard templates and command-specific guidance and forms. When you access the SharePoint site, it will list all commands, and you can then filter those documents. The section status icons are here on the right, and they are color-coded for you. Complete means that all required documents are complete, and this will appear in green with a check mark. In progress means at least one required workflow has been started but is not yet complete, and this will appear in blue. Not started means at least one required workflow has not yet been started, and this will appear in gray. Other statuses you might see are scheduled, which means at least one required workflow has been scheduled to start at a later date. That will also appear in gray. Due soon will appear in yellow, and that means the remaining time is less than 20% of the planned time. So for example, if the task duration was planned for 10 days and the due date is less than 2 days away, this will then display as due soon. Due today will display in orange, and past due, which means the required workflows are late, will display in red. Please note that non-required workflows do not impact the status of a section. Now I want to tell you about the difference between PID package and required. The PID package development is led by the procurement lead, who is then responsible for sending it to contracts. PID admins and editors can mark documents to be included in the PID package, but only admins can designate required documents. All documents designated as PID package will default to required, but required documents are not always a part of the PID package if they come later in the PID process. Again, I must hit save to save my selections. You can then select the View PID Package or View Required Only checkboxes. This lets you view the documents list based on either required or PID package, which does include the required documents. The green Create Workflow button allows you to upload files, add workflow stages, which are drafters, reviewers, and approvers, set the start and end dates, and set up the days per task. I am now going to navigate to the Workload Management page. The Workload Management page contains high-level views of your current and upcoming work with direct links to complete the tasks. You can access this via the left navigation menu, which is available anywhere in the modern system. My Current Tasks lists any workflow task that is available to be completed now. My Future Tasks lists the tasks belonging to a workflow stage that has not yet been started, or your task is contingent on someone else completing their task first. These sections display the workflow name with a hyperlink to the workflow home, the stage, which stage contains the task, the item ID, which lists the PID number and has a hyperlink to the PID home, the start date, the due date, and the status. Tasks are displayed in chronological order by the soonest due date. Dates are based on the workflow plan date and calculated durations. For available tasks, the start date is the date the task moved to in progress. The due date is calculated using the start date plus the days per task set during workflow configuration. Future tasks will display the date the task is estimated to be available to you. I say estimated because they can be a bit of a moving target. These dates may change dynamically based on when others before you in the workflow complete their tasks. For example, if a user ahead of you completes their task 3 days late, the start and end dates on your task will be shifted later by 3 days. If a user ahead of you is super efficient and completes their task 3 days early, then you will be notified that your start and end dates have been moved up. You still have the same designated amount of time to complete your task. Status indicators let you know if a task is ready to be complete and how close it is to its due date. Like the section status icons, the task status icons are color-coded for you. You can see on this page, I do have some tasks that are past due today, and some down here that are scheduled for a later date. Until completed, task statuses will update as the due date approaches. Each subsequent status will overwrite the one prior until a task is past due. I'm now going to navigate to the Workflow tab by clicking on the hyperlinked PID number here. The Workflows tab displays all workflows and their current status on the PID. You can search and filter workflows to streamline your view. You can view active only, view completed only, and you can include any canceled workflows. You can select any workflow to access its Workflow Home Summary page by clicking on the hyperlink under Workflow Name. Admins can restart completed workflows. Any workflow in any status with multiple signatures will be hyperlinked. You can click the link to open the Workflow Signatures Summary modal. You can access your workflow tasks in 3 ways. The Workflow tab hyperlinked workflow name, from the PID Home Documents tab, using the caret to open the different sections to find a workflow, or your workload management page. All will open the Workflow homepage. I'm going to go through the Workflow homepage now. On the Stages tab, you can see the current progress of all stages. You have the option to expand and close all accordions. I'm going to close them for now. This displays stage level, rolled up, or task level details. You have the order, the name, the type, whether serial or parallel, the start and end dates, the duration, and the status. Serial are workflow tasks that need to be completed one at a time in a certain order. Parallel are tasks that are completed concurrently during a set window of time. In this example of a serial workflow task, I am listed as number 1, and then Elaine is listed as number 2. I must complete my task before Elaine can start hers. She will be notified when I complete my task. In this example of a parallel workflow task, Sarah and I are both listed as number 1, meaning that we can do these tasks concurrently. It does not matter who does them first, but we both need to do them. This group icon designates us users as part of a group in which all members must complete the action. So this is a task that Sarah and I both must complete. The other option during workflow configuration is to set your group as any, which means that anyone from this group can complete the task. Looking at the duration column, the stages level summary will show the total days allotted and completed for all associated tasks. At the task level, you can see the duration that each person has to complete their task within the workflow stage. Completed tasks will show the actual time in which the task was completed. So for example, the first stage is the drafter stage, and I have a total of 5 days to complete my task. I can select complete and finish my task early, and you will notice how my start and end dates change, as well as my duration, to reflect how long it actually took me. This will also then change the start and end dates of all future tasks. I'm going to complete my task in order to move the workflow to the next member or stage. The comment is optional. You can see that my end date has changed, and the duration now reflects the amount of time it took me to complete the task. The workflow has moved on to the next stage, and now you can see I have the option to complete and move the workflow along, or I can return the task to the previous workflow stage. This is going to reopen the previous member's task. Members who can return tasks fall into the reviewers and approvers category, and a comment must be made. This now brings the workflow back to the drafter stage. My start and my end dates change again, and my duration now reflects how much time I have to go back and make my changes. I'm going to now walk through this workflow to show you some other features. As a PID admin, I can complete a task on behalf of someone else. I get a notification modal. Yes, I would like to proceed. And again, for the task completion, my comment is optional. My workflow continues to move throughout the members. The final task action available to me is the option to reject the workflow. This will return the workflow to a designated stage and reopen those members' tasks. The only members who can reject a workflow are approvers. I can select the stage to whom I want to return the workflow, and again, I must make a comment. This now brings my workflow back to my drafter stage. I'm going to walk through and complete the workflow. When my workflow is completed by the final approver, I then arrive at the workflow summary page. This will tell me the workflow stage cycle times, the workflow stages, the final documents, the workflow comments, and the signatures. The PID admin have the ability to restart the workflow. You do need to provide a comment to restart a workflow. The next tab is the Files tab. Here you have the Add button, where you can add a new file or a new version of a file. This File Versions icon will open a modal that will show you the previous major versions and minor versions on the current major iteration. Major versions are created every time a file goes to an approver originator. Minor versions are created each time the document is uploaded. Any previous major version or current version, major or minor, can be downloaded. Only the current version can be deleted. You can also download files by clicking the hyperlinked file name. Please note that downloading does not check out the file. In order to do that, you must select the checkbox to the left, which opens the action panel down at the bottom. Here you can download the selected file. You can add comments to the selected file. You can upload a new version, which just uploads a minor version. PID admins and editors can permanently delete files from the workflow. Deleting does require a comment. And the checkout locks the file to support version control. When I select checkout, there is now an icon next to the document letting other users know that this has been checked out by me and cannot be modified. The green icon means that you have the document checked out, whereas a gray icon will appear if another user has it checked out. You can hover over the icon to see which user has the file checked out. Only that user or an admin can unlock the file. To check the file back in, I check the box, and I now have the option to check in the file. Checking in the file unlocks the file and requires a new version to be uploaded. I also have the option to undo the checkout, and I would select this to check in the document without uploading a new version. So if I checked the document out, but I did not make any changes, I can just undo the checkout so that I do not have to upload a new version. PID admins can unlock any checked out file. Next is the Comments tab. Here you will find system-generated and user-submitted comments. You will see the history of documents checked in and out, as well as stage completions. You'll see user-submitted general comments or comments added to a file. You can filter comments by file name. You can select to add a comment to a particular file, or you can just write a general comment in the text box. Pressing Enter or the Send button will add the comment to the history. Every comment will show signatures and timestamps. Tasks completed on behalf of someone else will also be noted. The last tab is the Signatures tab. This contains all workflow approver signatures with timestamps. Tasks completed by PID admins on behalf of other users will note both of the users. This concludes our video on the 9.1 documents and workflow updates. If you need access to any user guides, you will want to navigate to the Training Center. All of the user guides have been updated to include the new 9.1 release items. So if I go over to the training center and select Documents and User Guides, I can sort the documents by last updated. This will show me the most recently updated documents. Here is the Documents and Workflow User Guide. Thanks for taking the time to learn about these new updates and features.